Good morning. Thanks, Dr. Simonson. Dr. Gallahan asked us to talk a little bit about how small projects that sometimes solve a clinical or educational need in your life can actually be maximized and move forward into items that can have a lot of traction for both promotion and tenure, as well as for our CSP incentive plan. If you could go to the next slide. Oh, let's see, one more click, please, I think. Yeah, so our scholarly activity is often focused on our academic interests, but it really needs to be tailored for our individual goals for both promotion and tenure. And it can include education, it can include research. I don't have my research hat on for this presentation. It can also include clinical objectives and service objectives. So those are the four areas in which we're evaluated for moving forward with production or with promotion and tenure. So many times we kind of think about things, I've got to do an education bucket, I need to do a research bucket, I need to show that I have clinical impact, and I need to have some service obligations, and that's how I get to promotion. But if we start to think about it in a different way on the next slide, we can see that these areas don't have to be separate. They can be overlapping, and they can actually all overlap, or three of them can overlap in one project. And when we start to think about opportunities like that, then we can be most efficient with our time and our effort. And we can also start to impact others, our colleagues, our students, our residents, and our fellows. And so we're happy to have Dr. McLean, who's one of the neonatology faculty, talk about a project that she has done that really meets these goals and objectives. It's something that she was starting out already doing, and she had an idea to make it better. So I won't steal her thunder, but we'll let her move forward into talking about that project.
So thanks for having me this morning. So I really want to start talking about the need that I had. So I took over orienting residents to the NICU at UNMC every month. And when they rotate, they do NRP maybe in June. And so it could be any time throughout the year that they experience their NICU rotation. So on the first day, we have about 2 hours dedicated to refreshing their skills and in neonatal resuscitation. And I had been giving a 20 to 30-minute lecture at that point. And then we went forward with simulation. And my thought was, how could I maximize my time and maximize our time in the simulation lab that first day and maybe take away that in-person lecture and providing them some concrete information. So my solution to that was an e-module, and the UNMC e-learning lab actually has some phenomenal resources, and they have a funded awards program, which I applied for in fall of 2020. It's a faculty-led mentoring program, and so there's 2 to 4 students on your team. You get a $1,000 stipend, and then there's an amazing lab support from the e-learning lab. So this is the current year's timeline. And so you apply in September, October, you find out in November whether you got it. They do software workshops for the e-learning to build the module itself. And then a bulk of the time is really creating your content that you're going to present, then developing it into the module. And so I already had this like 20 to 30-minute talk, and I really just had to put down in words exactly the script we would say for the module and tweak it a little bit. That probably took the most time of the whole project, because once we finalized that, we then recorded. We went to the sim lab and recorded some videos. Thank you, Dr. Soffer, for joining us and being part of that. The video recording, and to have an interactive piece and video of what neonatal resuscitation looks like. So we did that. Once we had those pieces, I then really turned it over to my students, and they developed the module from that content. And so I still cannot do the software and create the module myself, but I was able to let the students do that part, and they worked very closely with the e-learning lab to make that module. And we had several checkpoints throughout the year, and then had even a peer review and completed it by the end of March. And there was an e-learning showcase in April. So this is like year one of the project. And I would say for the e-module itself, making it, probably about 20 hours of my time, but that was because I already had that content made. So I'm sure there are some topics that you guys already have lectures made for that could possibly be utilized in this way. So this is just a screenshot of the module itself. Here we are performing some chest compressions on our sim doll. And over here on the side is just the algorithm, like the project itself. So you've got the NRP algorithm, and then we have review questions and assessments built into the module itself. So once the module was completed, I was able to use it immediately in April for the M4 residency prep course. We were able to spend time in the sim lab with both students going to Peds, OB, and family med. To do neonatal resuscitation and some skills. And so they all completed the course, completed the module before coming to us. And future plans and kind of ongoing plans is I've started now using the module, replacing that lecture that I gave every month to the NICU residents. And so now I have 2 hours in the simulation lab and hoping to be able to do more hands-on with them and really help facilitate their learning, their hands-on learning. My goal in the once I collect more data this year with using the e-module is to then compare their simulation performance and in the group that got the standard lecture versus the e-module to make sure it is as effective. So that is what I've done and my plans for this project. To maximize that scholarly activity, how it looks on my CV, I have the grant that was $1,000. In the publications, there's a published audiovisual or computer-based educational materials and computer software. That's the category that UNMC gives for there in the CV under publication, but also mentorship with plans for poster and manuscript in the future. So that has been my project. And then I believe Dr. Berg is going to wrap us up.
Yeah, so as you can see, I mean, kudos to Courtney, because she's really kind of hit a lot of the items that end up being on both your promotion package and also in what you're trying to do to maximize your academic productivity. So when we look at the PPI forms that we have for her, there's a ton of them that she's actually hitting. You know, most of them are on education, where she's getting credit for preclinical teaching. She's hitting some of the credits that she'd get for participation in student resident fellow education. She's getting CME through the course development out of it. She's getting a peer review paper out of it and a publication or a presentation at a conference. So this not only just is that $1,000 award that she gets, but she can get, you know, maximize her PPE to get up to 2.5% of base salary back. So this goes also a long way to help building her promotion package when it comes to her promotion. And it commonly leads to awards, as she kind of showed you that it's filling in buckets on her CV pretty easily. Okay, next slide. I think that
yeah,
I'll just wrap a couple other thoughts here. So like when she's looking at all of these, her education with the curriculum development, the mentorship that she's given would also fill in some of those buckets, and then really got that research side of it too.
So you might say, well, yeah, that's great. Courtney needed to do an e-module, but how does this apply to me? And I think that it's incredibly important for everyone, especially our faculty that are new to the institution, to take a look at these two websites, and we'll make sure that Stephanie sends this slideshow out so that you'll have these active links. But UNMC has so many resources for faculty development, small projects. And then we have Dr. Haney, our Vice Chair of Academic Affairs, who is a great resource for helping with ideas like this. And I saw Steph just sent out yesterday a note from Dr. Gallahan about another project like this. So the opportunities are there if you just think about how your life might apply to those. And if you bring in our talented students and residents, they can and they're thrilled to do a lot of the legwork, and it benefits them too. They can build their CV as you build your CV, and our education, our research, or our clinical output improves. You could build a module for patient-facing things as well. So there's a lot of different opportunities if you just take advantage of the resources that are at our fingertips. And please reach out to any of the three of us, Dr. Haney or Dr. Gallahan, if you have more questions.